metal always brings some sunshine to my day. Some people are like, really? Look, I love this Christian band, Devil Wears Prada. Like, like by the name, you're not going to think they're a Christian. You listen to them, and you're like, that's not, dude. Throw those lyrics up while you're listening to them. Bring some inspiration to your day, at least for me.
I got one for you, actually. I just found this band out. It's a Brazilian Christian death metal band called Anti-Demon. Ooh. And I don't know the lyrics because I'm pretty sure it's in Portuguese. But they absolutely rip. Dude, it is fan-freaking-tastic.
I'm checking them out because I've been super into that. You know, I love all music. You know what I'm saying? I love rap, hip hop. I know you and I, Dirty Old Bastard. We both love, dude. You know, back in the 90s, we agree on a lot of that stuff. I remember from my last talk. For sure. But yeah, dude, right now I'm into some metal, but hey, let's get into it a little bit. Michael Roberti, man. I like to throw this Michael Roberti. He doesn't say it like this. But, you know, that's not in my head. That's how it goes. So how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
Doing okay. You know, we talked a little bit before the show, and I'm not shy about it. So, you know, going through some struggles and mentally, and we got to talk about those things. So, just one of those things. And I'm getting through it, though. I first started with a little bit of health issues, and now, like, been a little bit bitter lately, just like kind of maybe feeling a little bit into myself, but hey, we're getting through it. That's right, and man. One of those ways is talking to people like you and reading and music, and kind of all comes together. I love everybody in the chat, man. I see y'all. Timothy, what's up, dude? Such a good conversation. He like, it was like from the first time that we talked about having him on, and then like when he did come on, it was such a long time, but it was totally worth it. Wonderful conversation. Daniel Maidman, I hope I'm saying that right, because I'm like halfway through your book, dude, and it's epically great. I'm loving it so far. Jared Lees, what's up, man? What's up?
Kevin,
what's up, my guy, dude? You know what? I watch all your TikToks, and you just had a milestone. I saw that. I think the physical shop is going to take off. You know, any new business, especially a small business, is going to have their rough beginnings. That's just part of it. But I love what you're doing, man. It looks beautiful every time I see what you're doing. Brian, what's going on, man? Working on 3 projects at the same time. All right. Yeah, dude. Take you a break, man. Take you a break and just listen. So we'll get to the rest of the comments here in a minute. All right. Where shall we start this time? I think now I've had Michael on before, and he is one of my favorite people to talk to because he's real. He does. So let everybody know. I think we'll start here. What you do during the day, because I think it's incredibly important. And then we'll go into how you kind of started this writing journey, and then we'll go into the newer stuff.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm a high school English teacher. I've been doing that for just about 12 and a half years now. And then now the last 2 years I've been doing driver's education. I had a very, very traumatizing experience with driver's education recently, and it may end up being like I need to plumb those depths for my writing because that was the scariest thing. And you know, that's like being real. You gotta take that those feelings and put them somewhere, right?
Sure.
But yeah, that's me. I teach in North Carolina in a rural kind of underprivileged community. And yeah, man, try to make it happen best I can, you know.
So I think that, you know, as a kind of a joke at first, until I just heard what you were saying, like, you know, I hear driver's ed teacher, and I'm like, oh God, there's these, you know, I wouldn't have want to be the driver that was in the car with me. Now, on a level of which I'm speaking of, which is kind of not so serious, was that a fear of yours? And then, if you want to, kind of dive into what happened, if you're comfortable with it.
See, the question like I have is like how, like the legalities of that. I'll tell you this. Okay. It was just it was a first day driving, and I was nervous. The main thing that made me nervous about it was somebody ended up filming it from the outside. But I think the car is fine as far as I can tell. Okay. And then the person drove a lot better. So I'd been trying to get into it for years because it's a good paying job. It feeds into my teacher retirement, which is fantastic.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
School and stuff. And it's tough with having two little kids. It's gotten a little bit easier. But like when I started, my daughter was going to sleep at like 7 o'clock. So I'd literally get home and put her to bed, and it kind of made me really sad. And like for now, like my schedule's kind of crazy, man. But like I'm driving the next town over. So on Monday, I go drive over there after school, do 3 hours of driving, drive back close to my house, and then I went to Boy Scouts, and I missed half of that. Brought my son home, put my daughter to bed, hang out with my wife starting at 10. And it's dude, it's I mean it makes things happen, but like it's a lot sometimes,
It is, dude. It is. And I think a lot of the times too, and I'm like halfway there with you, just because I don't have a full-time gig, if you will.
Sure.
Just because just health issues and stuff like that.
Right.
And that's kind of embarrassing for me to talk about, but just being real again.
Yeah, of course.
But with the kids and stuff, like lately, having that constant, we wake up, we take all 4 kids to 3 different places, or well, 2 now, but it was 3 different places. Come home, the wife's working, she's a graphic artist. But you find yourself just in this mundane kind of normalcy that you kind of lose. For me, I lost a lot of like those intimate moments, like
yes,
whether it was like, hey, how was your day at school, or me and my wife spend a lot of time together, so it's not like we recap with each other. But I think talking about it just like you did, having that schedule and being a dad and a husband and having a job is, I guess what I'm trying to say is staying busy is good, but at the same time, there's those parts where it really can become a mundane feeling. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh, for sure. Like I told kids about that. And that's the thing I think you got to watch out for. Is it's like after first grade, what do you do? Second grade, what do you do after second grade? Third grade, all the way through. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe I graduate high school and I go to college. Maybe I don't. I go get a job. I try to get a car. I try to get a house. Maybe I get married. Maybe I have kids. But what is next after that? And that's one of those feelings where I think that people get trapped in it. And I think that's a lot of people go home, get drunk, watch TV, and then do it all over again. And, I want to really avoid that situation. I want to make sure that I'm, both. And, we all have that trouble. Like, for instance, I've been super stressed. So I've been on my phone too much lately. But, like, try to be present for my children. Try to make a difference at school the best I can. Try to write books when I can. I mean, sometimes it's easier than others, but that's the thing is like, you have to have that thing that gets you up out of bed that makes, life beautiful.
That's it. That is, you basically just covered what that reason to get up. One of the coolest things I've been watching a lot of military interviews. There's a cool part to the battles that they've been through, the hardships, but what I get the most is the wisdom. Like there's one guy, his name's Tim Kennedy. He's a Green Beret, was in Iraq during just some of the crappiest times, right?
For sure.
And he found himself talking about a man without purpose is one of the most dangerous things. And that's my focus lately is I have this, issue physically where I cannot be counted on to go to a job. So I understand why people wouldn't hire me. Where can I find that purpose? And yes, I have an amazing wife. I have amazing kids. But I think being a man, you want that reason to provide. And I didn't necessarily see us talking about it so much, but I'm glad we did, man.
It's always wild when we get together,
It is. So yeah, I think that's the quote that I want to leave everybody with this conversation is I think that a man or woman, young man or young woman without purpose is a dangerous thing. And that's where I'm at. I'm trying to find a bigger something to give back, something to help, be of service. Right. But all right, man, let's throw in, let's go into some of the new things. So first, talk about your series and where you're at with it.
Okay.
And then we'll go into the next topic.
Sounds good. So I've been doing the Crown and Tide series. The first book, The Traitors We Are, came out in 2022. I put out a prequel novella, The Revenge of Thousands, in 2023. And then speaking of, that whole busyness and like we talked about, struggling with like depression and stuff, I had most of A Grave for Us All written before I put out The Revenge of Thousands. And then I just couldn't ever get to it for a variety of different reasons, just busyness or I got really preoccupied with like trying to navigate the waters of Spiffbo and stuff like that. But anyway, I put that out. It's been out for about a month when it comes to the ebook. It's been out for a couple, like almost 2 weeks when it comes to the physicals. And so A Grave for Us All picks up where Traitors left off within a few months. I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't read Traitors because it immediately, yeah.
I was just going to say, I was going to show you when at the end, that's what I have pulled up for my nighttime reading. I'm starting the series tonight.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, dude, I'm super
very
pumped.
Excited. Dude, I hope you like it. I mean, like, and that's the thing too, is like, I really like the whole, thing. Like, if you hate it, just, it's fine. It's cool, But actually, speaking of waking up with purpose, the third book is what I'm kind of working on now with 2 other projects on the back burner. And it's going a different direction than I expected. So I kind of expected them to get progressively darker as they went. And that still could happen. Grave went a lot harder than I expected it to go.
Like darker?
Oh, there's some moments. I still don't consider myself grimdark or the book's grimdark. There's some moments where I definitely kiss the grimdark like edge at the very least, if not like there are some straight up grimdark characters or moments. This one I've been kind of getting more inspired by like I don't know if you watch anime at all, but Vinland Saga, No.
My first anime, if you will, was oh god, it was the samurai with the blue eyes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. This Blue Eye Samurai?
Yes, the blue eye. Okay. Yeah, dude. Of course.
I need to get on that. I've started watching The Last Kingdom because funnily enough, somebody was like, "Oh, so you were really inspired by The Last Kingdom?" And I'm like, "What's that?" Oh. And so I started watching it. I'm like, man, if I didn't know any better, I would think I was ripping this thing off because like there's like several things that are like not like word for word or plot for plot, but like in the beginning of Traitors, somebody like mixes up like a thing and like talks to the gods. A girl does that really early on in The Last Kingdom, and I'm like,
isn't it crazy how unoriginal like even your original thoughts are? Isn't that crazy?
There's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean?
It's and it's like. I've heard that a lot. Like, after I published the book and I heard that it was like this, man, they were right, but I have never seen this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of those things where like, especially like I kind of, and some people have asked me if it's just my book is historical fiction with like some magical realism in it, and not really, but like I did like, I borrowed a few things here and there. I'm an English teacher, so I know like a pretty good amount about like English history. I did find out, and you may like this, a Norwegian reader hit me up, and he was like, that name is the F word, right, in Norwegian? And I'm like,
what
no, F. It's all right. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
I think it has I think it's called Ash, but it's like the A and the E, like in Damon.
Oh, okay, Fayan.
Yeah, and so I didn't know that, and then I also have so that's the F word. I have another character whose name is almost Dickhead in Norwegian, and I was like, man, art imitates life, and life imitates art. This is a beautiful world we live in.
I have to tell you a funny story. So I have a German a guy. His name. Well, I'll tell you his book first. Actually, I don't remember the name of his book, which anybody who watches me knows that I am very good at forgetting things.
Me too.
Anyway, he was on my channel, and his name is Rian, Ryan. And then now again, he's in Germany. He knows the German words. He speaks English, but he's not as familiar with our vernacular. And his I hate to do this, but it's a good example, and I don't think he would mind. He's a very good dude. His name is Ryan F. Holes. And in as an American, we could look at that name and say, oh, that's kind of comical. But in Germany, their words are totally. I was telling my wife, she's like, "Does he know that it sounds that way?" And I'm like,
Right, right,
I don't think so because he's in Germany.
right.
So it's
Absolutely.
very cool to get that crossover in culture, right? It's funny and you learn.
Yeah, right. And like if you had told me like 2 years ago that I'd have like a Norwegian guy, tell me about the profanity I used in my book, I would have laughed at you. But like, what a great what a great world we live in, where like if I don't get anything else out of this publishing journey, at least I got that.
Dude, yeah. And yeah, I see my guy over here, John Palladino. I have to say a couple things real quick. I reached out to him very early in this channel thing, right?
Mhm.
And he sent me a couple paperbacks of his books, which are Trials of Ashmount
Right.
and Buzzard's Bowl.
Mhm.
And I recently, he knows I'm a huge fan of
Mhm.
The Tragedy of Sedan, and he sent me these beautiful, dude, these hardbacks are just, and he
Dude, those
signed
covers
them.
are nice.
Dude,
Yeah.
they're solid. And then the naked, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
man.
just
I
gorgeous.
I am very. I remember what early on in my career, I was trying to recover Traders from the original cover, which looks like a pile of hot garbage, and I reached
Oh, I
out to
don't
him
think
as
so.
well. No, dude, that's not the original cover.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay.
no, no, no. There's a black and white cover that is terrible. I still somehow
Okay.
sold books. I made it myself, but I
You have
was
to
like, hey,
send it to me. I won't show nobody.
oh
I
no, no,
promise.
it's out there. It's out there. I'll show it to you though. But like, dude, I reached out to John and I was like, man, how much does your cover artist cost? Because like that's awesome. And he's like, he told me, and I'm like, John, that is awesome. I can't do it, but that is awesome.
Yeah. Dude, hey, you know what? There's a that so it's funny to reach out to other people, and especially if you have that like instance where you like you what you're I haven't seen this cover, but what you're saying is it's kind of it missed the mark for you.
Oh yeah,
And just to relate through that was your beginning. That's that
yeah, right.
learning piece. So you
I
kind
had
of,
no idea what I was doing.
yes, you're right.
No
And
idea.
then
Still don't.
and then to learn the prices of a good cover, guys.
Oh yeah.
If you're not familiar, just look up, Google has a good estimate. Yeah. Right there it is. And that's expensive for a piece of art that you're throwing on but look, your mothers and your fathers when you were little, hey, don't judge a book by its cover, but that's what we do, folks. It's very important. So I think that's a wonderful topic to cover.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, I've been pricing more things out there. I eventually do want to do a special edition or something. And I've had some conversations here and there. I just like, I mean, I think I'm gonna wait till the whole trilogy's out. That way, we'll see where we're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. So for traders,
Mm.
what so the cover art for traders, excuse me, wasn't as good as you'd liked it.
Mhm.
What route did you take to fix that?
I put a bunch of stuff online. I got spammed by a bunch of artists. It
Mm-hmm.
was terrible. And I priced a few out with people. I saw their covers. I'm like, oh, I like this, but what can I do? Because my whole thing, and a lot of people know, is that I want to be 100% self-sustainable. I don't put any of my own money into this because I straight up can't. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So Reed Westgate told me, he's like, hey, this Ukrainian company, and it turns out I found out later are related to Mibble Art, called Gate Covers, does pretty good, and they're really cheap. And so my covers are about $35, which I mean, like, are they the best covers in the world? No, I mean, but they're nice. Like they're
The
they're
ones
not.
that you have now?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not bad.
I
Um,
I hate to say this, but I've gotten a few books in the mail from indie authors who, I'm not saying anything about the authors or their
right.
books, because the books were good, but the I I hate to be that way, but that's not
Mhm.
me really being a way, I guess. Like,
No, I feel you.
as much as I love all of you authors, and I think that there's pretty good track record for me if you go to my YouTube channel for loving you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes the covers come across as, I think that if you put a little more into it, not
Hmm.
saying anything like that I know anything about it, But
Right.
just
No,
as
I
a
feel you.
reader, because I'm coming from a reader's perspective, that things need to happen in a way that I don't understand. Again, I'm nobody when it comes to this, but if I look
So
at a cover and it's not good, I have to say something.
no, I feel you. I feel you. And honestly, that's the right way to do it. You know, steel sharpens steel. And I think that like you have to have that trusted group to talk to. So like, you know, I'll release things. I'm really bad about releasing things instantly. Bill Adams always makes fun of me because like I have no patience when it comes to this stuff. Like when I get done with the book, I just want to throw it up on KDP and just go with it.
That's the human condition, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think the thing you need more than anything like is vision. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you have the vision and like you know what you want, like I've seen some get covers that are not very good. I've seen some get covers that are amazing.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is you got to kind of balance a kind of, you don't want it to be too minimalist, but you also, I think the problem is people go too busy with their covers because they want it to tell the whole story and you're never going to do that.
No.
And yeah, and like who's the guy on the cover of Traders? I don't know. Could be anybody. I mean, like it looks like one of the characters, probably. You know?
Yeah. So you gave your artist an idea of the story or a couple characters, and that's what he came up with, right?
So, and this is a thing that a lot of people don't realize about cover art, and actually there are more expensive ones that do it the same way. A lot of these places, what they do is they'll ask you to pick a few stock photos. They'll purchase the rights for the stock photos. They'll edit them however you want, place them however you want to do it. So, who I think it was Timothy Wolf. Yeah, Tim Wolf. Like, you know, he alerted me that somebody used an asset for my cover, but I'm like, oh no, dude, that's a stock photo. You know, it's fine. And the thing is, like, you know, like just the thing is, you'll see that it's the same character as far as the clothing goes, but the guy had a face added onto it and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I know that there are some out there where you're doing the stock photo thing and they're charging you $650. I know a person who used one of those companies and paid about $900, $1,000. And, you know, it's like, you have to think about what is your return on investment going to be? You know, like for me, $35 to earn out a cover is not bad. I know some, you know, there's some really good artists out there that charge a lot of money. I would have maybe paid for one really good cover by now, you know?
So Brian D. Anderson, the Renegade Bard here, you know, he knows this from me. Anything that he suggests, he's probably going to get a yes from me just because he's been on the indie side and he's still on both sides, like trademark side. So he says the cover doesn't need to be a snapshot from the book.
Right.
It captures the spirit and tone. You know what? There's so many. When I look up, guys, by the way, I'm not just like standing in space. Like I've built my bookshelf right in front of me.
Right.
And there's just so many. Okay, here's a good one. Here we go. Oh, good. What the hell does that tell you about the story?
Nothing. I have no idea if it looks cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, this is going to be science fiction. This is going to be something a little mysterious.
It's a total vibe.
Yeah, it is. It is a vibe, right?
Yeah.
But there's no characters. There's, you know, again, I'm only so far into that book, but I do know for a fact that isn't. That's not a snapshot from the book.
Right, for sure.
Now here's a good example. You get somewhat of a feel for the snapshot of this at the beginning.
That's really well executed. Yeah,
it is. So I think it has a lot to do with that old fan. I'll give the example I love is Robert Jordan, The Wheel of Time. Excuse me. The old cover, the original hardcover.
I know what you're talking about.
It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I love that. And that doesn't necessarily work all the time.
Right.
Awesome, man. I love that. I love that kind of story.
Yeah.
John says Dirk Ashton, who's a gangster. Talked about this before. A scene on his cover never happens in the book, but he thought it looked super cool. Hey, there it is. And even on Buzzard's Bowl, there are some artistic liberties taken. The mages aren't actually flying in the air. Okay.
I still need to get to Buzzard's Bowl. I was thinking about that the other day. I finished Seeds of War, and I was like, I kind of want to like I need to kind of chase this vibe a little bit.
Yeah, dude.
But mostly I've been doing audiobooks, dude. It's absolutely killing me. The nice thing is, I guess, or the terrible thing is my commute's long a lot of the time, so I'm flying through them.
Yeah, John, by the way, man, I'm like 3/4 of the way through the book, and I'm loving it, dude. I can't wait to give you my final review. It takes me forever to read a physical book. And even if there was an audiobook for yours right now, dude, I wouldn't listen to it. Like I would strictly, I love reading the hardback, but I'm the same way, Michael. At night, like I'm an audiobook freak, dude. Like that's where I go to town is at night.
For sure, dude. For sure.
So, Willow Wraith Press.
Yeah.
Let's hear what it is. Give us everything, man. Give us what it is.
Yeah.
What's happening.
Oh, dude, we got some good stuff for you guys. But to start, Bill and I have been talking for a while. Bill read Traders and reached out, and around that time, I think, or maybe a little bit before that, I think we connected before that. And at some point, like we talked about earlier, I was having trouble with Grave, where I just felt like I was almost done, but I needed like a set of eyes. So I started to get like kind of early beta readers. And so Bill offers to beta read, and I give it to him, and he gives me back a full set of edits for the first chapter.
Wow.
I was like, oh, shoot. Yeah, I thought it was before you read Traders. I knew it was like I don't think we knew each other very well before you read Traders, but I remember seeing you before that. And so like, this is around the time we started talking a lot more, and he ended up editing the whole book for me, and we collaborated, we bounced ideas and stuff. And I knew that he was releasing, Tana. I know he had an adult fantasy, and guys, I know he has not revealed that cover yet, but the cover for his adult fantasy book is, I don't know if he minds if it's a Felix Ortiz joint.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty beautiful, dude. I look at it a lot. Like I just like to like scroll up on our chat and be like, look, But So anyway, we start talking, and then I joined the Silverstones blog team sometime around then or before that maybe, and then Bill joined on. We started talking, and then so like we started talking some more, and then me and Bill were talking about a few things we wanted to do, and like he had already edited my book, and. So we basically talked, and we kind of came up with this idea of what we want to do, and we want to create kind of this team that's putting out excellent content, both on the entertainment side and on a practical side when it comes to doing things like how do you self-publish? Like if like we're not like experts by any stretch of the imagination. Like I'm still relatively young in my career, but like I've learned some things in these 2 years that I want to, I would like to give back to the community, come alongside some people. The covers aren't there yet. But when they are,
I didn't know that. Okay, Dewey.
Yeah.
Okay, Dewey.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just got this book in the mail, dude, and now I can put a face to Dewey. All right.
Yeah, dude. Dewey's art is crazy. I kind of want to tap him up to do something later too, but I don't know. But anyway, so we've got some things planned. Tim Wolf, he's in our group. We've got some things planned. So one of them is the one that we've announced so far is Authors and Adventures, where we're going to take a author, have them make a one-shot in Dungeons & Dragons or another TTRPG in their world. I'll kind of host it, and the first episode I'm going to DM it just to show people what's up, and we're going to play through the world. We're going to kind of see what it's like. So for instance, on mine, so I took I was thinking like I almost did something completely different than the books, but I wanted to tie it together. So we're doing something set 20 years before the Revenge of Thousands, and there's going to be a kill team. Yeah, there's going to be a kill team. I don't think you've gotten there yet, probably, but we're going to try to kill Orden Oberlin before the whole thing starts. So it's called The Traitors We Never Were, and that's going to be June 14th. And I think it's going to be
you're playing with the names and how you Traitor's Grave, like, dude, yes, that's what's up. Revenge, like, yes, dude. I think when you put that emphasis on such badass words, just to be frank.
There you, dude. It's all about recognition. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like those names kind of came to me, but I've been very, very happy with them because, like, I feel like if you Google The Traitors We Are, other than that one reality TV show, that's probably the only thing that's going to show up. The authors, and Bill's right, the authors that we've got lined up, we've got JCM Byrne is going to do an episode. We've got Andrew Meredith is going to do an episode. Michael Mitchell is going to do an episode. Greg Wonderland is going to do an episode, and Reed Westgate. That's season 1, and then we've got I think Ed Greaves might be doing season 2.
Oh my God! You see, so I have to correct you. It's Michael Michelle. He might.
Oh my gosh! I've never heard. I don't think I've ever heard it said out loud.
I said the same thing in my chat. He's like, dude, it's Michael Michelle. So hey, before you talk to him, that's what I was gonna say.
Thank you. This is why we're boys. Because like I was gonna make a fool of myself. I'm like,
hey, I got you, dog. I said Nickel. I said Michael. I said Michael Nickel, and I was like, that's even worse.
No, dude. So that's interesting. Okay, I have to try to remember that. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I think it's hopefully gonna expose people to these authors and what makes the world special. You know, my world started as a Dungeons and Dragons setting, and that's actually the book itself started as. I don't want to spoil so I talk about it at the end of Grave. The scene, the big climax of Grave, is the first scene I ever came up with. It was supposed to happen in Traders. It was supposed to be a standalone, and it was supposed to happen much earlier. But that's what the whole thing's been about this entire time. And then the next book is going to be the fallout of that same thing.
That's what's up. So tell me if I'm wrong, Michael. Ryan Skeffington, he's like, I'll do an episode. What are we doing? Keg stands?
We can. Yeah.
Go ahead. So
I was gonna say we're doing.
No, please continue. I was
gonna say JCM Burns episode is going to be a drinking game of some sort with the TTRPG, so it's possible.
Hey, have you guys have heard of Lost Souls by Ryan Skeffington? Dude, gangster ass.
Oh, nice.
And it's not super long. In fact, it's not long at all, but it's somewhat complex. As when you want to read. I read like a chapter at a time just because I like to digest.
Right.
Great, dude. It's great. So if you want, absolutely. My guy Ryan, thank you for popping in. My guy, I haven't talked to you in a while. I had to say, I do remember this story, Brian, and I'm not going to tell it because you tell it so well. I'll have you back on the channel very soon, dude, if you want to, because I'd love to have you back. Me and you get along on so many levels. We'll have to tell it again, dude. It's hilarious. John met Michael Michelle the other. Oh, okay. Yeah, dude, I seen that. What was that? You guys live in Oregon? Yeah, Oregon, I think. Let's see here. Matt's fantasy book reviews. What's going on, my friend Matt? Man, we're full of Matts in this review book world. Excuse me. Curious on Michael's take on the recent claim many are making that epic fantasy is dying as a genre.
I have a good take on this, actually, and I've talked about this a lot with people. So one thing that really, like when I was querying, and I didn't query for very long, was that somebody's like, oh, you can't query this. It's high fantasy. There's too much high fantasy. Nobody's buying it anymore, which patently untrue.
Yeah.
This was before the Wheel of Time TV show had been announced. The Ring of Power had been announced. But the thing that offended me most, especially with the chapters I gave them, Traders We Are is not high fantasy.
Oh, you're speaking of querying.
Yeah. When I queried, they're like, oh, so here's the thing I think, and this is something I was listening to this podcast today, and I actually been listening to more audiobooks. I just needed the palate cleanser, and I know you like metal, so there's guys from these bands. It's called Hard Lore, and they have. Are you familiar with it?
I am, but not as familiar as I think you are. I've heard of the name, I've heard of the sound, but I don't know a lot about the people involved.
Yeah, so it's a guy from Twitching Tongues and the guy from Harm's Way, and they just have people on. The first episode I saw was great. I like this band from Japan called Cruelty, with a K, and they had the guy rate American fast food in tier list, and it was fantastic. But I put on Jamie Josta from Hatebreed had an episode, and I think he has a good. It's similar to music, in that. So, like, for instance, the old school hardcore sound, it never died out. People said it died out. It never died out. People started liking other stuff more for
Listen to Pantera, people.
Right. People liked the newer stuff more for a little bit, but it comes in waves, right? Like Grimdark is on the rise, and actually, I would say is probably peaking at the time, like right now. And I think that we're going to look at a time at some point in the future where people are going to get almost like darkness fatigue, and we're gonna see a return to that epic fantasy. I mean, like, also look at like Ryan Cahill. I don't know how to say. I can't pronounce last names. I can't even pronounce my own last name, as you know.
I said Cahill until I talked to him. It's
Yeah, but like, all right, so that is. I mean, I've read The Fall. That is clearly epic fantasy,
dude. Yeah,
that is
100%.
one of the most popular indie books right now. I think what we may be seeing is people are choosing a lane that is not that for writing, so less people are writing it. But the people who are writing it are being very successful. I've started the audiobook for is it Whispers of a World Breaker by Corey Ratliff?
Hold on. I've got it right here. I've got it right here.
Really, I really like it so far.
Dude.
It has a little bit of that grit, but also very epic. You know, and the thing is, it's doing fantastic. So I think that there is.
You know what he did?
What's that?
Reinvented his book, dude, with that cover.
Really? Yeah, oh yeah.
His old cover, it was okay. He did it.
Yeah.
And then he hired this gangster of a woman.
Yeah, dude, that's a good cover.
Dude, and it just says like
great title too. Love the title. Evocative.
It wasn't getting the love that I think it deserves because I agree with you. It's epic.
Yeah.
I haven't finished the book yet, but it's epic. It's good. It's got that epic fantasy to it, but it's got the grit too.
Yes.
It's got dragons, right? Orcs. We've got elves. All the stuff that I love.
And that's the thing, man. I don't think that thing's ever going to go away. Like Tolkien is still one of the most popular fantasy authors of all time. Epic fantasy. Now, if you're saying and I just finished it, A Wizard of Earthsea. It's good. Yeah. You know, it's good, but like, and I can see stuff like that is not going to be as popular. But the thing is, it's also the same problem with like a lot of the classic stuff is the people are taking it and changing it slightly. You know what I mean? Like, so like, you know, where Corey is taking what is ostensibly a very classic tale and adding a little bit more darkness and grit to it. It's still epic fantasy. It's like speaking of Pantera, it's like if you put Pantera and just made it like changed it slightly, you'd have Sepultura. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So have you? By the way, man, I didn't just discover. I rediscovered it. If you're a Rift man like me, Shedding Skin by Pantera, the finest of riffery, if you will.
I really need to go back with them. Like I always like Pantera. I kind of slept on a lot, and I don't know why exactly.
Well,
I was more of a Slayer, Metallica guy
out there.
I think that's one of the. So I think Phil, and then I like Slayer and Metallica.
Nuts, dude.
He's a little nuts. Yeah. So like, I want to go back and listen to it because I've actually been like rediscovering some of that stuff. And you know, like especially like the older I get, the more it's like, you know, I'll find new stuff like Cruelty with a K. Check them out from Japan, fantastic. But then you go back and like I was listening to Bolt Thrower, and dude, Bolt Thrower still rips like straight
Bolt
up.
Thrower. That's the name of the band.
Yeah, it's a Warhammer 40K themed death metal band from the 80s.
Yes, dude.
Dude, it is so yeah, exactly. Like I will just like put that on, start grading papers. It's great.
Oh wow, man! I had no idea there were Warhead 40K. Like never knew that.
For sure.
That's incredible. Well, see, I do a podcast with my guys, the Four Beardsmen of Apocalypse, and they are just now getting me into the TTRPG, and I'm really liking it, man.
I love it.
I get it. I finally understand why so many authors are like, this was a huge foundation for me. Well, of course it was, dude. Of course it was. Like that makes so much sense.
Well, I mean, that's what like literally people would be like, you need to write this down. You need to write this down. And I was like, it's fine, whatever.
Sword and Sorcery. You know, call me a little simple, but I'm still pretty new in this game. I know high fantasy. We've got the Brandon Sanderson. Epic fantasy, we've got Cahill, we've so many. We've got Robert Jordan, we've got Erickson, we've got so many. What is the difference in epic or high fantasy, which I'm very familiar with, and Sword and Sorcery?
I have no clue except for Amazon put me in that category. Like I was like, what is this? I think a lot of times it's like a hack and slash. They like a D&D inspired maybe esque thing, but I'm really not positive. I mean, it's kind of like one of those things too. Is like when you start splitting hairs with the genres, you start like reducing it into something that might not necessarily be an accurate representation.
Yeah. It doesn't like Sword and Sorcery. Like that's in all of the epic fantasy I read. That's in all of the high fantasy I read. So I guess the only one that I would say that was really taking me is, oh my gosh, I hate that I can't remember the name. I can't find it. He is a Bain. He writes for Bain Books. I have to look it up, man. It's so good, and I'm loving it so much, and I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, very good. So that's my first like sword and sorcery, and what I understand is it's like Conan, right? Conan,
Right, sure.
Is my reference for sword and sorcery, and
Makes sense.
And it's still like, it makes a little like, I understand why there's that genre, but I could also call that epic fantasy at the same time.
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of like music too. Is like people start coming up with these like crazy names for genres, and like some of them are really good and descriptive. Like for instance, if you're listening to black metal, are you listening to like symphonic black metal, or are you listening to like straight up black metal? You know what I mean? That's a huge difference. Or death metal, you know, are you listening to In Flames, or are you listening to Anti-Demon? You know what I'm saying? And so like I think genres are only as good as they are useful. And when we start like saying like, oh, this person's this or this person's that, I mean, I think sometimes if it helps you understand what the book is about, it's good. And the thing too is like with some of these things, like sometimes Amazon threw me into horror, which I'm like, where did that come from? You know,
as somebody who isn't like word for word familiar with your books yet, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I see your covers and I've read some of the book, and it's like it's not horror.
Yeah, it's like dark fantasy horror, which I don't really get. I mean, like even dark fantasy, like I get, but like sometimes it's like we're taking like one element of the book and running with it. Like so, I get people call me grimdark all the time, and like there are grimdark elements to my work for sure. Like it's a upsetting world. The characters in general are morally gray, but the thing that I think separates me from grimdark is that there is the hope for change and the agency of we are potentially going to do something different, and we do not want to continue the same way that we've been continuing.
Just for instance, because I'm seeing John still here, like even 3/4 of the way through the second book,
right?
I don't see a lot of hope. Like I'm thoroughly like I'm emotionally invested in some characters.
Sure.
Like there's lots of dark and there's lots of war going on. There's lots of violence. There's lots of deceit, and I don't see the hope, which is one of the reasons I love a good grimdark book, and he's doing it so well. I think that hope aspect takes it out of the grimdark. I think you're right.
Right. And what I think John does better than like pretty much any grimdark that I've ever read is that I've only read Trials of Ashmount, but you never feel oppressed by the darkness. Whereas
no, you don't.
Yeah, right. And that's what Abercrombie did so well, which is why some people are like, well, he's not really grimdark. He is grimdark.
Yeah.
Just because you don't feel beat over the head like you might with Berserk or something like that, it is still grimdark. But the thing that is like it makes it's palatable in a way that like you still look at it and say this is not right. But at the same time, there's not that oppressive, like everybody is just killing each other with their, like I'm gonna. So I finished Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy a couple months ago.
Oh wow, yeah, dude, I can't finish it.
I absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated it.
That's my get from the go, dude.
Yeah,
the sentence structure kills me.
It's a better writing experiment than it is a book because it has maybe the most grimdark atmosphere I've ever seen.
That's what I've heard, and that's why I was instantly like.
The
reason I know John's books is because I had a fellow reviewer say, "Hey, this is too dark for me. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Send it my way, brother." And I did. And so that
was one I was worried.
Yeah, dude.
Because like
for sure.
Without spoiling, I have a huge issue with violence against children in books. Not necessarily saying, "Oh, hey, you can't do that. You're so evil," but I just don't like reading it. Like we didn't finish the movie. Me and my wife didn't finish the movie The Witch because there's like implied violence against a child that's like really graphic. But again, John's style is almost like, well, this is the thing that happened, and which is also that tongue-in-cheek Abercrombie-esque. That's Abercrombie was also. Which is interesting too. Like Abercrombie is also a huge influence of mine, but I think I like we just took different things from Abercrombie. You know what I mean? Like one of the things I really liked about Abercrombie is the fact that the characters, like for the most part, it's like, well, this is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
This is, this, what can I do? You don't get the feeling that they're going to be able to change anything, which I think is where I vary. But they are characters that have that view of, this is who I am. What path am I taking?
There's two topics that John, since John, you're getting some promo up in here, dog. There's two topics that he covers in his books that I typically wouldn't have continued to read. Like,
sure.
Look, if you've read Trials of Ashmount, like the first two chapters,
it's like, brutal.
Yeah, it is, dude. It is.
It's rough.
It is. And it's like, you know what? I almost put the book down, but I'm so glad I didn't, because like the attention to disgusting detail wasn't there, but it was enough to where you're like, this is a dark but story adding part of this. Like, for instance, this beginning part that I'm talking about is still very prevalent in book 2. Like, there is no part in which you'll read in his book that I don't see fits the narrative 100%. It's not for shock value.
It's not gratuitous, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Dude. So
that's the trick. That's really the trick. Is it pushing the plot forward? Is it believable in the setting? Which, I mean, again, Blood Meridian did really well, but at the same time, like, it's not pleasant to read. Whereas I enjoyed John's book because, it was like, okay, this makes sense. The parts of the whole, and that's one of the reasons I tend to avoid things that are more recently coming out labeled grimdark, is because it's like, just like, to be frank, there's a lot of sexual assault. There's a lot of sexual power imbalance. There's a lot of violence against children. There's a lot of, and it's not
pushing
like
the boundaries.
Right, pushing the boundaries. And the thing is, there are good ways to push boundaries. And I mean, I'm an English teacher. I studied literature in college. I'm not like, I'm no prude. And I'm not trying to say, hey, don't go do this. I'm not trying to shame you, but like the people who like this. But like, the thing, when those are successful, in my opinion, is when they hold a mirror to society and say, this is an important thing for you to look at. Are you a part of this? Is this something that you can accept? And I think that sometimes people are just like, it's style over substance for some people lately. And I don't really, I think I'm a substance guy. You know what I mean? I want cool is cool, but there needs to be something behind it.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Shock value, that will work for 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I need to know why this story needs to be continued. And yeah, dude, I totally agree with you. I've said that so many times. Man, Michael and I, we get along on so many levels. I love this, dude.
Oh yeah, it's like a mind meld.
It is, dude. We're on the same wavelength. It's the beards, right?
I know.
We're talking.
I had such a good beard going earlier this year. I was so happy. I was like, I scheduled my Beard of Darkness interview. I got this cool beard. I'm finally ready. And then I started interviewing for jobs. I was trying to switch to like some instructional design stuff because I was getting really discouraged. And then I was like, I mean, I got 2 interviews, didn't work out. And now I'm just like, I've been here for 12 years. If I get 8 more years, I get health insurance for free for life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude. I just need to suck it up. You know what I mean?
You know what happened to me is I've had like, since I've kind of come back, since I was on my medical leave kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
People are like, is your beard shorter? And I'm like, unfortunately it is, dude. So I went to this new barber, dude, and he did me dirty.
I hate when that happens.
Dude, I said, like, keep the length. And my wife, before I even noticed it, like I never really looked in the mirror to like, lengthen it. It just grew.
Yeah.
And I looked and I'm like, you're right, dude. He totally just did me wrong. Anyway, it's on the mend. It's on the way.
There you go, dude. Time.
Yeah, and it takes time, dude.
It does.
It takes time. So the Willow Wraith Press, I think that what do I think of that? I think with the authors that I know that are a part of that so far, is there going to be some growing? Because let me just say, you guys that are a part of that so far, man, that is incredible already. Like if it just stayed the way that it was, like you have a fan in me, Bill, I have to have you on. We have to talk, bro. But what's the future look like? Have you guys talked about like what's some things coming next?
Yes, we actually. So I can't say everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Specifically, a couple things. Like we've got some really exciting stuff coming. Like I really wish I could talk a little bit more about it, but we have to kind of do a little bit of a slow rollout. I'll tell you some content that we've got planned is we're gonna try to do some new indie news related stuff in kind of a humorous way. Bill, if you want to go into the chat and tell me if I can talk a little bit about that, I will. We got another one where Bill and Dewey are going to look at some like B movies, some bad B movies, and kind of like riff off of them.
They're out there.
We're going to do some blog posts about we're going to do some blog posts about like the writing aspect, the marketing aspect. Bill has a good series with Dewey that they're going to do about how, like, why is it different to publish with two people instead of one, and how is that different in self-pub? And then so the one that I can talk about now. So we were going to call it. We decided to back off a little bit for now, just because like it hasn't officially started. We're kind of still working. We call it the Spiffbo Sportscasters. Bill is going to be a character called Dad Bod, the Goblin Keeper, and he's a barbarian, and I'm going to be Fudgewick and Canto, a wizard, and we're gonna like just do the news as these characters,
Dude, yes.
So that's the thing. I think that like one of the things that we've noticed in the community is that there's this self-seriousness, but like at the end of the day, we're dudes writing words and enjoying each other's company. You can't be serious all the time, and like you can't take yourself seriously all the time. But we got some good stuff planned, man. Like
I'm excited just from what I've seen from it, from some posts and I like those who are that conversate and put some news on Twitter. Look, guys, I'm on a little bit of everything, but when it comes to like the simplicity of Twitter, like that's where I'm at.
I feel you. And, so when I understand.
Yeah, dude, Facebook's done me wrong.
Facebook's awful.
They took, dude, it is like they took I had a Facebook account from like 2007 until like 4 months ago, where they just let this person continue to ask my people for money. Like they've hijacked it. They've taken so.
Dude, I hate it.
Yeah. So X is where I'm at. Fight me if you want, guys, but I like the owner. I think he's a halfway decent dude. I think he's doing better than the last guy. I don't agree with everything that he does, but he gives me hope for having both sides of the spectrum on one spot. Whether you agree with him or not, it doesn't really matter. It's all politics, right?
For sure.
I was going to say, one of the epic fantasies that I've actually really grabbed a hold of, A Court of Thorn and Roses. What do you think about that?
I think my wife read it and liked it. I haven't read it.
It opens with one of the most gangster scenes. Dude, she's a gangster.
Yeah, okay. I've heard good things about it. It's outside of my normal wheelhouse. But I mean, like I kind of I'll read anything. I'll tell you what I really enjoyed. Speaking of outside my wheelhouse, I didn't read the first one, but Bookshops and Bone Dust, that was fantastic, dude. I loved it.
The first one was great. The first one I've heard is better than the second one. I haven't read the second one, but the first one, dude, it's like it opens like she throws her sword through her neck and like blood comes down. It's like, but then everything's over for her in that career, and then it goes into the coffee shop. It's really good.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna have to check that out. I really liked it. The writing was great. The characters were great. I enjoyed every bit of my time with that. And I also really enjoyed, speaking of like that cozy, my friend Andrew Meredith has Quaint Creatures just came out. That's really good too. It's good, man. Like I was really I wasn't sure what to expect because like the premise,
some brownies,
dude. It's really fun. Like a little bit of mystery. I'm kind of digging the cozy thing. I don't think I could do it. Like I
get the point of view of the giant, right? I'm 6'5". Yeah. So I'm like, I get it, man.
No, dude, I'm 5'10". I'm more like the brownie, dude. Like I'm down here with it. But like, dude, like I mean, he's a fantastic writer, but I kind of wish like I love that range because like I've tried to write other genres, but like literally everybody's always conspiring against everybody else in my books. I can't not do that. I gotta stop. but like I
get it.
gotta, you know.
I get it, dude. I do. Like, and by the way, I hadn't like noticed this at the bottom. I love this.
Oh yeah.
Willow Wraith Press. Look at that, guys. I love what you guys are doing, man.
Oh,
Bill,
dude.
great job, dude.
Yeah, Bill, man, Bill is like he really made my next book like with his edits. Like I think it would like I feel like I took a step up, but like I feel like him and then this one of my followers who read Traders, Andres, he read it too, and like their feedback like really elevated the book, and like you know they had some perspectives that I you know like they're very it encourages me to hear them talk about my characters the way that I feel about them as well, like the desire to make it the best it can be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. Tobias, man, I know you're a writer too. I've been checking your books out as well. There's forgive me, but as a reviewer, like especially one who likes to specialize with the indie crowd, or self-pub crowd, there's such an ocean of books
yeah,
out there.
for sure.
But I'm getting to them, guys. I'm getting to them and excited. But a fellow author got me into Warhammer 40K in the past years. I've heard.
Yeah.
It's one of those rabbit holes, right?
I used to play in college. The trick I had was buy everything used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's used shops.
Well, used shops a little bit, but just like eBay, like
eBay.
Find a dude who's desperate to like for some money, be like, "Yo, dude, I'll give you $200 for that."
Okay,
you'll get a whole army. 200.
That's
bucks.
What's up.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's how I did it. It was I had a lot of fun with it, but the problem is it not only expensive, it's time consuming, and like I don't know how it is now, but it got very tournament heavy, and I was fairly good at it, but like people would kind of like get really upset like really easily if you were beating them, and it's like, well, I came all this way and set up my pieces, and now you're beating me so bad. All right, you know I get beat bad sometimes. Yeah, dude,
like there's a clear winner and there's a clear loser and things.
It's a little plastic man. Like it's not a real war, you know. Chill.
Yeah, dude. I would have to be the same way.
Oh yeah, dude, it's fun though. It's really cool lore too.
I am I'm just on the cusp of learning like the dice rolling, like the 10. What is it? 10. What is the? Oh, you've got the there it is.
Yeah,
look at that. All the different dice, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Like that. I'm getting to learn all those rules and kind of just making you get to make that story as you go. So this happens and then this okay, I can make that up and it's fun.
Oh yeah, dude. And like that's one of the things I loved is like I've had a few people who have been so that's kind of when I realized I needed to start writing the books was like so I had my campaigns and then one of my best friends from college had his campaigns and started doing it in the same world. And like I took some of this like because we had a combined one and I added that. It hasn't been discussed in the books yet, but that's another comment. And then another group is now running my world. And I was like, so like it's interesting because like people will read my like the book who've done played in the campaigns. They're like, wait a second, that guy's last name is blah blah blah. I better watch out for him. You know what I mean? Or like
they gained a reputation.
Yeah, dude. Like, well, I mean, like there's like the family. I mean, it's not like a spoiler, but like the Finlix family has been around in my stuff for forever, and they always they're in the book, and they always kind of do the same stuff, and it's not always exactly the same. But I had a lot of this stuff like the lore, like around 2013, 2015 is when I really started getting with it, and then I started writing it in 2021, I think. But
that's what I love hearing about those stories, dude. It is very cool now, and I think more so just because I'm selfish. I think everybody's a little selfish. I'm getting into it myself, and not that it's selfish, but like putting myself in that position to understand it better helps me appreciate it more.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And you know, it's like the collaborative storytelling, that emotional feeling when you guys bond with an NPC and you want to protect them and like they become like a real person to you. You know, your characters have, especially if you can get your characters to have that real history, and like it's not like you're operating in a vacuum. You know what I mean? And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, so one of the things is like people who sign up for my games kind of know what they're getting, and like there'll be some combat, but it's a lot of like we're talking about stuff and trying to plan like bigger things. Like the last one I tried to do, and it kind of fell because of my schedule, was like I had it. The very opening scene was they had just taken over a city state, and now they had to run the city state.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot that goes into that. Think about it, like on a real, if you're getting realistic, which I think is the goal.
Right, absolutely.
You know, lots of different aspects go into that. I have to say, I have to admit something here, and this is just me trying to be a better man, okay? I used to tell my buddy, because I had buddies that played Dungeons and Dragons or 40K.
Right.
And I was like, I'm going to do what the non-virgins are doing, right?
Yeah.
I feel so bad looking back on that.
Nah, dude, you're probably right. You're probably right. Like matter. No, like, as somebody who plays a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, you know what I mean?
But I guess it has to do with the reason I said this.
Yeah.
Is because I feel so bad. You know, honest, this isn't me joking or nothing. I feel so bad about making somebody feel smaller than they ever deserve to feel.
Right.
You know, I played football. I'm assuming this position they had, and the reason I bring it up is I don't want anybody to ever treat anybody that way.
Right.
And it wasn't fair for me to say that because I understand it now. And if I would have understood it better then, I would have been right there with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I've already told these people that I'm speaking of that I'm sorry. Like that was part of like my 9th step, being an addict. Kind of going back and like making amends and stuff like that.
For sure.
So that was a real point I was just making, guys. Just kind of telling on myself.
No, hey, you know, so here's the thing. Like, I remember when I started, we used to hide the fact that we were playing. We used to call it bowling, and we'd be like, "Oh, we're going bowling," and people are like, "Oh, we want to go bowling too." We're like, "No, it's a league. We already started. You can't join." You know. And but like, here's the cool thing though, and this is the thing that makes me happy as somebody who liked Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon and Dragon, and Dungeons and Dragons. Like, this stuff's all cool now. Like, there's NFL players tweeting about Dragon Ball Z. Stranger Things made Dungeons and Dragons cool, and like, the thing is, like, I'm sure that they, and I know that those things like hurt and stuff like that. Like, I remember too, like, I had to come to terms with the fact that I was nerdy and not everybody accepted. I remember these girls came over our dorm. They're like, "Oh, where were you last night?" And I was like, "You know what? I was playing Dungeons and Dragons," and they just started laughing. They were like, they thought I was joking because I'm a jokester, and I'm like, "No, dude, for real. Like, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons." They're like, "Oh, cool. What's that about?" And the thing is, just own it, right? And and like be comfortable in your own skin. I'm not always good at that, but like
one of the things,
and one of the things, like, the older I get, the more it's like I just want to be myself. I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to, that's really big of you too. By the way, it's hard to apologize when you know that you've been wrong. Same thing with me. Like, I have it's weird. Okay, I'll get weird with it. Like, I used to be a very angry person, like a very, very angry person. And I hurt a lot of people's feelings back home, and I've kind of made up for some of that. I kind of haven't made up for all of it. And that still bothers me to this day, the fact that I used to be a jerk.
It will until you make it right, bro. Just from experience, it will until you, like, just because like my thing was opiates. I was on heroin really, really bad back in the day. And like, that doesn't mean that heroin is your thing. If it was being angry, if that's what you were addicted to, or if that was your mindset, man, you can use those 12 steps, especially that 9th one where you make amends, dude, because I'm telling you, those things that are in the dark will gain light in your life.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They will sprout.
100%. And that's the thing is, like, like what is it? Like, you reap what you sow,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man. Yeah, dude. I remember just really, kind of being in the same place you said you were, like angry, and I felt myself kind of going back there, like, lately.
Right.
And I'm really trying to help that just by talking about it. So
absolutely.
I think finding those, whether it's going and saying you're sorry and trying to fix yourself, or kind of like what I did, like that's 20 years in the past, like me saying that kind of stuff to people, but giving yourself a chance to make that right, whether it's talking to anybody. So yeah, man, huge points. I love that. So what are you working on now, and what's coming up for you as far as we've heard about Willow, Wraith Press? So what's coming up as far as you and your writing?
All right, so I've got 3 projects now. One was going really good, and then I kind of lost momentum on it. But I've got the 3 projects I got is I'll start with Crown Tide 3. Crown Tide 3 is probably my main thing, just because I released the book 2 recently, and it actually, like, I was kind of like afraid. I was like, have people lost interest in this? But it went a lot better than I expected, and honestly, it's really going good. So I'm trying to make book 3 happen, and especially because it's a story that means a lot to me. Like, this is one of the stories that I really care about, and I think that the message at the end is gonna really be worth it. So that's something I'm really excited about. So Crown Tide 3, Until Worms Remain, probably out next year, I hope. Maybe 2026. I've got The Unclaimed Girl, which is a rewrite and reimagining of a book I wrote in 2014, 2015 that I never published. I never edited because it was terrible.
It was one of your stepping stones, right?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So, like, the idea, I'll tell you the idea. It's really cool. The idea is cool. So it was before the whole words disappearing thing. And what it was, have you ever seen those things? And I probably have talked to you. I've talked to a few people about this before on podcasts and interviews. Have you ever seen those things on like Facebook or Twitter where it's like, if you can read this, you're a genius? And it's like all the words. So the idea is that there are these people that are basically born wrong, and you cannot keep them in your memory. And when you try to remember them, your memory fills in the blanks, so you'll remember something different. And so
that's
the original,
pretty close to what actually happens.
Right. And so I've got the original one was very much an adventure, but I changed it so that the character is going to be a teenage girl. And so it starts off with she wakes up one morning and she's going to get ready for school, and it's in the Trader verse. And her mom does not remember that she has a brother, and her brother's room is gone.
Oh, wow.
But his signature's still in the family name book.
Dude, like that.
Yeah, so that's gotta be cool. The Unclaimed Girl. I got Hoof Print. It's about a guy who got stamped with a hoof, and he is kind of like a warden type character. It's in the Crown Tide 2. They're called deacons from Dormar, and he's gonna go. He's gonna go on one last mission, because basically, if he goes on this mission, the guy promises that he can get his name erased from the register of deacons. And if his name, because people mostly don't remember his name, but if people remember his name, anybody can ask him in his name to do something, and he has to do it. So he's trying to get people to forget his name. And it came with a line. The line that inspired me was like, somebody's like, and then blah 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 took up his father's sword, and then the main character goes, "Oh, that's bad. That never works out at all."
I like all those, dude. I really do. Those sound like you put some time and effort into really coming up with a creative idea.
I just like sit around and think about these things all the time. I'm kind of nuts. Like, straight.
Hey,
like, I'll be looking at something and be like, yeah, dude, how crazy would it be if this person didn't exist? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, dude. No. I think that so many people are in that same. You're not nuts, dude. I think you're creative. That's a commonality between creative people, is they obsess about those things that could be or should be or they wish would be or they might be, and creating your own story about it is incredible. I want to say, Britton, man, that's something that's never easy, my friend. And good for you for shouting it out, because that's the only thing that helps. Is like, the way I look at it is like, this demon or this dark place inside of me has a lot of power, and unless I project it out, right, it will keep hold of me. So good for you.
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, absolutely. And I mean, like, that's one of the things, is like those emotional and that's something I'm really bad at, to be honest. Like, I've become more introverted over the years. I think I always was introverted, but I forced myself to be extroverted when I was in a band. And like, I'm really bad about reaching out to people. Like, I'm not good at asking for help. And like, I'm glad that this community is really good for me, because like, I'm not good at talking to people in real life all the time. Like, I'm tired of it by the time I'm done teaching with kids.
It's exhausting.
And it's exhausting. But like, I talk to Bill a lot. I talk to Andrew Meredith a lot. I talk to you pretty frequently. And it's just like, just because we haven't met in real life does not make that relationship any less significant.
100. And you have. Dude, my DMs are always open for that.
Same, dude. Same. Like, I love it. I don't do anything other than work and kid stuff. So like, just hit me up.
Yeah, dude, it's same here. You know, and there's so many ways that people like you and I and so many other people can relate. So I think take that chance, right? Take
Yeah,
that chance,
absolutely.
step out of your make yourself a little uncomfortable, and you'll be surprised. I promise.
Yeah,
Like I
and I mean
promise, dude.
that's the thing is like that's what's cool about this is like I like for some of this like the reason that me and Andrew Meredith are friends is because I liked his book and I was like, man, dude, this book is great. And then he's like offering people free audiobooks for Deathless Beast, and I was like, yo, hit me up, I want that. And then I
Yeah,
started talking to him about that, and then like we talk a lot, and now we're good friends, and
that's
like
awesome.
you never know, like some people may not want accept your friendship, but screw them, who cares?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. You're always going to come across somebody who isn't on that same wavelength, but don't let that deter you from asking the next person or reaching out to the next person because they will make you soon forget that last person that
that's exactly
didn't.
right.
I promise, dude. I promise. Anybody that's listening, I promise that. Like, please let me know if I'm wrong, but I
No, dude,
promise you.
when you find those people you vibe with, and like I'm not good at trusting people very quickly, and that's one of the things that like with both Bill and Andrew, like instantly, like I felt like we were good friends. You know what I mean? Like Reed
Yeah,
Westgate is the same way as like I don't always like I it's different in real life. It's easier because you can find people who are more similar to you on the internet. But like this guy at my work is like, we've been like teaching together for 9 years and we've never talked, but I'm glad we have. And I'm like, yeah, me too. But
yeah.
it took 9 years for us to warm up. It took
And you guys are right there, North
yeah.
Carolina, together, and it's
Mhm.
just moments like that give you a little bit of hope, right?
There you go. And
There it
that's the
is.
thing is like you gotta let yourself be open to that. And sometimes you gotta be cautious and be smart about it. Like if you're like this dude's sketchy,
Yeah,
um,
trust
I'm
your
from
instincts.
Florida. Like my sketchy dude radar goes off all the time, all
It's
the
like I
time.
lived in Florida for a little bit. I get
It's
what you're
awful.
saying, dude.
It's so
And
bad.
you're right most of the time
Yeah.
in Florida, right?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
there's some
dude.
sketchy guys.
You just don't talk to anybody in Florida. That's really unless they're in the Mickey Mouse costume, just avoid them. Just avoid them.
I love it. I love it. Well, man, I'm super excited that we got to talk again. This won't be, I don't say this with everybody, but this won't be the last time I have you
Oh, for
on, man. I,
sure,
I
dude. I
enjoy
appreciate it.
talking with you.
Same.
Looking forward to talk with you about the more about the books and what I think and maybe some spoiler chats in the future.
Oh, dude, I love
Uh,
that.
yeah, dude. So just thank you, man, for coming to spend a little time away from the family. Thank your family for me,
Oh, we'll
and
do.
we will talk to everybody. Thank you guys, everybody in the live chat, man. Y'all have been awesome.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and you guys that will watch this after it's done and it's the replay, thank you as well. Leave some comments, like, share, follow, all that fun stuff, because that doesn't just help me, it helps everybody on my channel. And we will see you tomorrow. I'm going to be talking with, and I hope I get the name right. I think me and my wife have an argument. Tilda Coldholt.
Oh, don't ask me. I
She,
have no idea.
bro, some of the most gangster Norse books I've ever
Oh, I
read.
believe it.
So her and Herman P. Hunter
Mhm.
tomorrow. So you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.